y'all, today we're going to tackle the Day of the Dead project. So we're going to use the frames that were before, like a pinkish light pink color that I got from Goodwill, also the fabric from Goodwill, and we're going to do a similar process to what we did before for little white and silver pictures. I also am going to share a few things that I picked up at the at-home store, and I've got a video later I'll post what we had, at least at mine. So first, you'll need a frame, any kind of frame that you want, doesn't matter. Take a look at your Goodwills, your yard sales, even just new ones if you'd like, and then any fabric you'd like, or you can use any print because of course there's so many images on the internet. You can definitely use that if you prefer, but there are some beautiful fabrics, and a lot of them, especially at this time of year, like Joann's has a ton of different like Halloween patterns, Day of the Dead patterns, so that would be a great place to start, and you can get a lot of fabrics that are cheap. Look out for their coupons on their website as well. So very quickly, my little at-home haul, and I do mean little, fits in this bag. And on my little short that I posted when I first saw stuff, I showed y'all this little witch lady that's on stuff, and I think she's so cute. She's not the normal kind of design that I would use, but I liked her so much I figured I'd at least pick this up because it was only $2.99, and she could be like the little mascot. So I can keep her around either on my desk or in the car or whatnot. And then I was really surprised at these. So these were in the video, and they were on the short as well. And it's this little hanging. It's got little wooden Jack Skellingtons. There it goes, untwists. And it's got like little different pieces and a little bow tie, but this thing's only $2.99. So just like those little skeletons I showed you on the last video, I am going to take this apart and I'm going to use the Jack Skellingtons as the Halloween tree ornaments. So I'm going to just pull the ribbon off the back and poke a little hole through, and then I can use this bow tie little part either by itself, or I can mix and match it with any of the heads to make like a larger ornament or even a tree topper. So for $2.99, I picked 2 of those up. So I'll end up getting, you know, whether the bow tie is on its own or with it, I'll get 6 to 8 ornaments just from that, from $2.99. And then they had her and the little bat and stuff. So anyways, on to the project, which is going to start with us painting our frames from the light pink to a beautiful Rust-Oleum color that I found. Here's my first coat. And I'm using the Satin Claret wine, or Claret wine, Rust-Oleum. And that's the cap versus what it's coming like. I didn't want to do black because there's too much black with the fabric I'm using. And I didn't want to use a bright red because it looks like Christmas red. So I tried to match the more burgundy tones of the fabric. Here's the frame painted, and I cannot tell you like just how beautiful this color is. I mean, it is, I don't know if the camera's doing it justice. It's fantastic. And this is 2 different coats. It is an excellent match for the fabric that I chose. So as you can see there, it's really close to those burgundies, but not an exact match to where it's just a little too matchy-matchy. So now that we've got this all painted, I'm going to then grab my canvases. The canvases that I purchased are the flat canvases that are the 11 by 14. They're Artist Loft, and they're normally anywhere from $9 to $12. And of course, most of the time you can get them at 40% off. Once I get the canvas situated, then I'm going to place the fabric to where it's centered at the pattern that I want to start with first. This will, of course, require some adjustment. So some of the things that will make it easier for you is if you are using a picture frame that has like a piece of glass. If you have a piece of glass, obviously you can just put the piece of glass on top of the fabric and move it around to position it to where you want to frame everything.
The other thing you have to pay attention to is, as I'm pointing out here, the different ladies. So I have a fabric that has a lot of different ladies, a lot of different positions. So I have to be mindful that although I'm concentrating on the larger picture, which in this case is the blonde, I also have objects around it that may look odd. So I've got to try to, make sure I don't have like the blonde and then I have a bunch of like half cut off heads of other things. So I'm going to position it, and when I first do, I've got the lady up top, and it's like just showing her chest and most of her body, but it cuts her head off. But then I realize I've got this lady on what is my bottom right and bottom left. So I could actually feature them. I'm just going to double check on the other side of the fabric because I'm going to do that brunette lady next and see where she fits. And she actually could fit in with the brunette lady. So I'm going to not worry about centering her as I position the blonde. I'm going to focus more on the two bottom left and right ladies, and I'm just going to move them around to where I get at least the faces of the other two ladies at the bottom end. And then I'm going to pull the fabric up on the blonde as close to the top as I can, but I also got to make sure I'm not cutting off the hair of the blonde when I'm doing that. So if you have a fabric that has less of a pattern to where things aren't so close, it'll be a lot easier for you to do. And if you want to start out with an easier fabric, like I did on the last project where I just kind of started with silver and whites just to see how the process was going to work, then I got confidence to tackle this one because I knew this would be a little tricky. Now, if you don't have a piece of glass and you're doing like I am, to where you pretty much just have to get it in position and, the best you can without seeing exactly what it's going to look like. You can lift the canvas up like I'm doing just so the fabric drapes so you get a better view of how everything's going to fall. Another option is you can also take like a piece of chalk or a marker and you can draw exactly where it's going to all line up once you get it exactly to where you like. But I think that I like the way it looks here. It's got the two ladies where it has their faces on there. It's not cutting too much off of their bodies. And I've got the blonde more towards the top because she has a long torso in this. So next what I've got to do is cut the fabric because obviously I've got this huge, it's probably a couple yards of fabric here. And I've got to cut it closer to the size of my canvas. Now, because I can't really see where this falls, I am cutting it and kind of eyeballing to get it close to the canvas, but not so close that, if I mess up, I don't have any room to play. The other option is you can also turn this over. I don't because if the fabric were to slip some kind of way, I would not be too happy with that. So I'm just cutting everything kind of close, about 2 to 3 inches from the canvas itself, and then removing all the excess fabric. Once that's done, I'm just going to adjust so I can get everything lined up exactly where I want it. And once I confirm everything is exactly where I'd like it to be and I didn't make any mistakes of cutting, then I can start to glue in place. Got a couple little things on this canvas here. The glue I'm going to use is the 3M General Purpose 45 Spray Adhesive. With this adhesive, you can either just go full on like I did, where I just paint the whole canvas all around, or if you want to be a little more cautious, you can paint, or not so much paint, but spray, I should say. You can spray the top of the canvas and get your top all situated, and then press down and lift up a little, spray a little, push down, spray a little, push down. It does not get too sticky right away, so you can spray the whole thing and just press down. It's not a problem. Just make sure that you do like this and push from the center out to the sides. And you want to do that to get any kind of wrinkles or air bubbles. And I am loving it. Loving, loving, loving this fabric. Once I've got everything where I want it, I'm going to make additional trims to get even closer so I don't have so much excessive fabric. So now for my final trim, I'm going to trim this all about, I'd say, 1 inch to 1.5 inches around. Once I get that trimmed up, then I'm going to take the spray adhesive and I'm going to spray close to the edges so that I can continue to wrap the fabric all the way around the canvas. And you want to pull, of course, as tight as possible, so it's helping to keep it nice and tight to prevent the wrinkles and the air bubbles. On my corners, I'm just putting those flat down. I'm not gathering the corners like you may do with like upholstery, for example. And it gets everything nice and clean. Now, I've got my little hammer because this particular frame is a wooden frame and it does have the little tacks in it, like the little teeny tiny nails. So I'm going to remove all the teeny tiny nails because my canvas is exactly 11 by 14. So even bending the nails, it's not going to be enough. It's just too tight of a fit to try to do that. So I'm removing all of them and removing my little price tag from Goodwill because, again, these were under $5, which is awesome. Once I've got everything removed for the nails, I'm going to put that in. Just make sure you pay attention when you're mounting that the top of your frame is, or top of the picture is also lining up with the top of the frame or your hook where the picture is going to hang from. So I took all the little nails out. I'm replacing them with just regular nails. This is a little pack of nails you can pick up from like Walmart or Target or like a big box, any other big box store, pretty much. And you're going to just put the smallest nails they have, and I put them in the corners just to hold everything down for the corner fabric. I turned this over and then added also some black paint. I just did this to add a little more contrast to the frame. You could also add like a dark wax if you'd like, but I just added some paint on those details and just rubbed off. And these are the ladies. So there's the blonde we did together, and then there's the brunette. And see, there's our lady that was up in the corner of the blonde's picture over there on the right-hand side. Love, love, love this project. Stay tuned. We'll do some more, but let's get ready for spooky season.